I wanted to record this video not too long ago, but I realized I didn't fully understand what being in the loop was or what it fully meant to use God to get out the loop. But I imagine it as this. You get to a point where you're really for the Lord, you're strong, you're reading the Bible, you're stepping into the Word. Then you get to a point where there's a little bit of temptation and you might be leaning towards it, you might not, you might still be praying to God. And then you get to a point where you then fall into that temptation. You then go into sin. You know, we all deal with this. Then we all go to the Lord, cry out to him, ask for forgiveness. And then there's that little awkward phase where, we're disappointed in ourselves. We felt that we should have been stronger and that we could have given that to God. And then we get to a point where we're then okay, let me get back on track. And then right back to the beginning where now we feel we're strong for the Lord. That is what I see as the loop. And the loop, to me, I know that so many people deal with it because I've dealt with it over time and time again, right? One of the verses that I have for today is actually in Psalms 18, verse 16 through 19, which reads, "He sent me from on high, he took me, he drew me out of many waters. He rescued me from my strong enemy, from those who hated me, for they were too mighty for me. They confronted me in the day of my calamity, but the Lord was my support. He brought me into a broad place, he rescued me because he delighted in me." The note I have written is, I can do anything with the Lord. One of the things I want to talk about is when David says in verse 17 that the Lord rescued him for his enemies were too strong. My stubbornness definitely time and time again gets in the way of allowing the Lord to work through me. My stubbornness can definitely cause me to go back in that loop. And to be honest, I imagine the loop as being, imagine the Lord has his hand out and he's guiding you down a straight path. A path that he already knows every single danger, every single enemy, and every single temptation that you're going to deal with, but he is there to help you through all of it. Even in the word, it says that the Lord will not let you be tempted beyond your ability. There's no sin that with the Lord you can't conquer, right? Or you can't overcome. Back to the path where imagine the Lord guiding you, right? Now imagine you hear a whisper in your ear and you take your eyes off the Lord the same way that Peter did when they were in the water, right? Now imagine you follow that voice and that voice leads to a loop. The loop gets us nowhere. The loop doesn't get us closer to the Lord. It doesn't get us closer to where he needs us. It doesn't have us going down a straight path and the path that we already know is paved, but it keeps us locked and stayed in place, right? So I want to remind everybody to just get out the loop.